Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today I want to show you how to print to scale in Rhino. In all the previous projects that I was working on in firm, we were using 36 inches by 48 inches paper. And in most of the studio projects that I was working on, we were using 11 by 17 or the letter size because the smaller printers can handle them. And today we are going to try to print this rectangle to scale using a 11 by 17 paper. First of all, we check the unit. It says feet here, and that is good because we created this rectangle in another tutorial using feet. It's 20 feet wide and 40 feet tall. And then I want to print it on a piece of paper that is 11 by 17. First of all, I want to type in REC and I will click anywhere. And then I will type in 11 inch, hit space, and type in 17-inch, hit space. You can type in either inch by using the letters, or you can use a double quotation mark for inch. You can use the single quotation mark for feet. Okay, so if I type in REC again, click right here, and if I type in 11 double quotation mark and hit space, and then I'll type in 1 foot, which is single quotation mark, and then type in 5 inches, and then I'll hit space. We have created two rectangles that's exactly the same size using different typing methods. And then I want to scale this paper up. Before I do that, I want to check our printing scale. So we are choosing 1/8 of an inch equals to a foot. So what does that mean? 1/8 of an inch equals to a foot. Well, let's take a look of the math in between. 1 foot equals to 12 inches. And then 1 inch equals to 8 times 1/8 of an inch, right? So 1 inch is 8 times to the size of 1/8 of an inch. That is straightforward. And then 1 foot is 12 times to 1 inch. So that means if we are using this scale, we are literally scaling this thing up for 12 times 8 times. Okay, so that means we are scaling this thing up for 96 times. So in order to print it to scale, what I can do is I can select this paper, click it right here, type in 96, and then click right here, type in 96 on another direction. So what we have actually done is we have scaled this paper up for 96 times on both X, Y directions. Okay, that is great. And then I will move this around to make sure that I have all my stuff in the center of this paper. And then what I can do is I will hit Control P. Then I will make sure that I've selected the image file, which is PNG, BUMP, or TIFF. And then I will make sure that I've set the width and the height to exactly the same size as our target paper. So I will type in 11 and I will type in 17 here for the unit inches. And the resolution, I will use the minimum 300 dpi. That means every inch we have 300 pixels in between. And I will choose print color. I will make sure that I'm using the window and I will click set. So I will set the window around from that corner to this corner and hit OK. And then I realized that the system changed the scale to 1.04%. Well, what does that mean? Well, that is because if you calculate 1 divided by 96, you will get 0.0104166. And then if you time that for 100 times, that is 1.04%, right? That is how we get this number. That means this thing has been scaled down to 1.04% of its original size. And then let's take a look of those values here. It says on paper, 1 inches equals in model 8.000971 feet. That is almost perfect because our goal is to use 1/8 of an inch equals to a foot. And now it says 1 inch equals to something almost exactly to 8 feet, right? That is our goal. There's a difference in between. That is because when we were drawing this rectangle for the set window, we cannot draw it perfectly. That is just a problem with Rhino. So in order to fix that, what I can do is I can click right here and choose the 1/8 of an inch equals to a foot. We have it here, or we can just type in here, okay? And then I will hit print, and I will replace this number 1. And then let's take a look of that drawing. So this is what we have created. By looking at this paper, I don't really know if this is on scale, right? So what I can do is I can come back here, and then I can type in REC, click anywhere and type 8 and type space, and I will just click here. So in that way, we have created a rectangle that is 8 feet wide. So I can just dim it from this point to this point. It is exactly 8 feet. So on paper, this should be exactly 1 inch because our target is to scale this to 1/8 of an inch equals to a foot. So 1 inch should equals to 8 feet, right? And then I will just hit print again, and I will print this. I will replace this one, and then I will right click it, open with Photoshop. And in Photoshop, you will see that this is what we got. And in the ruler here, you will realize that this is 11 and this is 17. That is exactly what we want. And then I will just draw a guide here to 1 inch, and I can draw a rectangle here, and I will move this around to that location. Now I have realized that this rectangle that I've created in Rhino, which should be 8 feet wide, is exactly an inch wide in Photoshop. That means we have done it successfully. We have exported this image in the perfect scale. This is super useful, not just in drawing, but also when you want to create a 3D model. For example, if you want to create a 3D model in 1/8 of an inch equals to a foot scale, then you can just draw those templates using this method and then print this paper out. Cover this paper on whatever material you want to use, like chipboard or museum board, and glue it to the board and cut this rectangle or whatever shape that you are drawing in Rhino. And then you have created a physical model that is exactly in this scale, which is 1/8 of an inch equals to a foot. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'm looking forward to see you in our next tutorial.